You are Locked On Tigers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome into a live Locked On Tigers Postcast. Tough one this evening as the Tigers begin the series against the San Diego Padres with a difficult 3-0 loss. They're shut out. My name is Jake Reitman. I'm your host of the live Locked On Tigers Postcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Reitman. And this team has a way of doing that. You get so fired up and man, they just pull their heart right out of you. And today was a tough one to watch, or tonight was a tough one to watch, I should say. But happy Labor Day. Welcome one, welcome all. We'll break it all down. That's what we do on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. And the season doesn't end tonight. The wild card race, we're still going to talk about it, even though the series against the Padres got off on the wrong foot. But before we go any further, how about a sincere thank you from me to you for making Locked On Tigers Postcast your post-game destination. That's right. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And of course, on YouTube, Locked On Sports Detroit. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And with it being the second day of September and Labor Day, like I said, happy Labor Day, it's a good time to remind everybody that this is a fun time of year because we've got Locked On Tigers Postcast. We've got Locked On Lions Postcast. Our first regular season Locked On Lions Postcast will come your way Sunday night after hopefully a beatdown of the Rams on Sunday Night Football. And then we have Locked On Wolverines Postcast, big one for the Michigan Wolverines on Saturday, taking on Texas. Michigan 1-0, and they beat Fresno State. We had our first ever Locked On Wolverines Postcast, but on Saturday it will be a true test against the Texas Longhorns out of the SEC. But here we are in a live Locked On Tigers postcast. And if I slip up and say one thing or the other and it's a different team, just remember we're juggling and balancing a couple of different postcast teams right now in the month of September. But speaking of September, we had meaningful baseball. We had the Locked On Tiger, or we had the Tigers and Padres. But before we go any further, you guys thought I forgot, right? I sure did not. Okay, maybe I did for a second. But hey, how about a huge shout out to today's sponsor presenting the Locked On Tigers postcast, FanDuel. That's right, America's #1 sportsbook. Now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free, who doesn't love free, a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Woo! Now, I was just so excited to talk about this Tigers loss. Now we can get into it. I kid. I was really fired up, as I'm sure everybody else was, with all the momentum gained from the big series win over the Red Sox into the West Coast trip to the Padres, and after that against the Athletics. And you had the feeling, especially entering this game, that just things were going right for the ball club. But that's going to happen. 162 games. I know I say that every single episode, but you're going to have those shortcomings and those games where you just can't get out of your own way. And today felt like that type of game. I mean, the Tigers offense, this is one of those post-game shows. If I was doing a Tigers post-game show on 97.1 The Ticket, it would be Tigers were 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They made a costly error and open up the phone lines. And I really don't think there's a lot of, baseball guy analytics, a couple of brutal at-bats with runners in scoring position in big spots. You go back to that 8th inning and Riley Green gets the double, and Justin Henry Malloy, just one of the, I don't want to say poor effort, but he looked overmatched in that eighth inning. Ibanez in a pitch hitting spot didn't look great. Scott really just overpowered the opposition aside from Riley Green's double. But you look at what he was able to do in that 8th inning, Tanner Scott, that is, and Justin Henry Malloy in that at-bat just, I wouldn't say didn't stand a chance. I understand the contact to damage ratio that Justin Henry Malloy provides when he barrels up a baseball. That's huge. And if he runs into one, yeah, we're talking about a totally different game. But Banya's weak ground ball, Riley Green gets the double, and then Matt Vierling, that's the other one too. He strikes out, and then Justin Henry Malloy in a big spot pinch hitting. And you could really honestly do this for a couple of different innings, because you look at the 7th inning and Jace Young, or I'm sorry, it was Sweeney. That's right. Sweeney singled to center and then stole second. I knew he got to second somehow. Gets to second, and then Jake Rogers pops out. And frustrating at bat, sure. But again, you just keep going down the list. Now to the 6th inning, you get Vierling with the single, and then Carpenter with the walk. Again, runner at second, and Colt Keith strikes out looking at a ball right down the middle. And I don't want to keep going down the line, or, if you're a Zach Bryan, like down the line. No, it's just the 6th, 7th, and 8th. You get runners in scoring position, and you just don't really get that clutch hit. And by the end, it's a little bit too late. The Padres do their damage in the 8th with a couple of runs there, 2 of them to be exact. And when you enter the 9th, trailing 3-0, it just feels like too much of an uphill climb to get to. But that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And with the loss now, Tigers fall a game above 500, 70-69, nice, and 35-35 on the road. As for the standings, because we are scoreboard watching, live scoreboard watching. That's what we do, because I thought it was, and some of it too, because the Tigers were playing on the West Coast. It's late for our time, but a lot of the games have already are close to being completed or in progress. Twins have a 5-3 lead over the Rays right now. That's not good. Mariners and A's tied. So those are the 2 teams you are rooting for to lose. And of course, the Red Sox too. They are trailing 4-1 to the Mets in the top of the 8th. So still some things that could go your way if the Red Sox lose. Hopefully the Mariners lose, and somehow the Rays come back to beat the Twins. But on a live Locked On Tigers postcast, we love a good scoreboard watching. But appreciate everybody tuning in to this episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast. I'm your host, Jake Rietma. Let's get to some of those comments, because as always, it's a collaborative environment. We want to hear what you have to say, and that's what the chat function is all about on the YouTube stream. If you're catching the audio only version, again, thank you for your support of this program. Demetrius McNeil leads it off. Jake, remember, no balls, 2 strikes, had the Tigers offense in an uphill battle. The lack of clutch hitting with men in scoring position blew them right in their face. Got to come back Wednesday. Yeah, such a funky schedule. I'm glad Demetrius McNeil said that, and I'm glad he reminded me. So weird with the off day tomorrow, and someone smarter than me could explain why there's an off day in the middle of the series for tomorrow in San Diego, and then 2 games to complete the series. So again, maybe they wanted to play on the Labor Day holiday. It could be, it's probably just as simple as that. I don't know why I'm overcomplicating it, but again, somebody smarter than me can confirm if it's okay. Yeah, we want to have a game on the Labor Day holiday. There was a scheduled off day, so put it on the old Tuesday there. But either way, kind of a bitter taste in your mouth for the Tigers, because it's just, and defensively too. I think the costly error on the from the pitching staff on the throwaway there, it was Hannafy. Yeah, Hannafy makes the error, and you put yourself in a little bit of a hole, and that's not why they lost. I mean, you got to score to win, and that would have made it. That would have made it 1-0. And if he doesn't make that error, then I guess you look at the 2-run spot in the 8th inning there for the Padres. That would be the ultimate undoing for the Tigers. But you get it. You don't want to make those little league type errors where, okay, I field this ball, base runner's already to first anyways. If I'm the pitcher, you just have to know not to throw that ball, or plant your feet and get something on the throw so it doesn't end up costing an extra base. And then the single after that brings home the runner. So a lot of things to clean up if you're the Tigers, and you got the off day tomorrow before the series continues on Wednesday and Thursday. A couple more comments to get to here. Rufus El Gato de Baseball says, I was going to the game on Wednesday, but the tickets are insane. Oh, I was going to go to the game on Wednesday, but tickets are insane. I'm also blacked out from the video, but I don't think I missed much. It's also super hot this week. That's right. Our friend Rufus El Gato de Baseball is a California guy, And yeah, there you got a lot of reasons there, a couple of checks in the box. And I know what you mean though about the blacking out of games in select markets. It's always a bummer if you're an out of towner and the Tigers happen to be playing against a team that the market is blacked out and then you can't get the game. But yeah, you didn't miss anything today. I know a lot of people want to get in, and this is a discussion, the pitch hitting of Justin Henry Malloy for Carpenter. And when it doesn't work out, here's what I'll say. We spent a large portion of the program yesterday praising AJ Hinch, and we know he's a mad scientist when it comes to managing a baseball game, and he's going to do the take into account the splits. It was the lefty pitcher. You'd think Justin Henry Malloy can run into one, but there's something too about it. Give Carpenter, one of your best hitters, a chance. I know it's a lefty on lefty. I'm aware I don't need anyone to mansplain or explain the importance of the difference of the splits. I get that, but at the same time, if it doesn't work out, then you have every right to look at the other side of the coin and say, I wonder if Carp gave you a better chance in that big spot, because it was a big spot. And I mean, Justin Henry Malloy was blown away in 3 pitches, and the moment was too big in that spot. Okay, appreciate everybody tuning in. We are well into our Locked On Tigers postcast tonight on a Labor Day edition. I feel like the Tigers never win on holidays. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but I can remember doing a 4th of July show where Kenta Maeda gave up 100 runs, and now into Labor Day they didn't win. But I don't remember Memorial Day off the top of my head, but I'd be curious to see what the Tigers record on holidays are this year. But don't go anywhere. We're just getting started on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Back in a moment. This episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. That's right. We tell you all about FanDuel. And you go to FanDuel.com to get those live odds, make those bets, cook up those parlays. I do it every single day. Okay, maybe not every single day, or I'd have to call one of those hotline numbers. But you get the point. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. You've heard it once, you've heard it a million times, but it's true. They're also the official sports book of Major League Baseball. But right now, we've got something a little different for you. So listen up. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Let me say it to you one more time. That's right. Something a little bit different. All customers of FanDuel can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. It's win-win-win-win-win for everybody. Just visit FanDuel.com. Download America's #1 sportsbook. Okay, we're cruising right along on a Labor Day evening, and I try not to be too sad, but I'm bummed. I'm bummed the way this game played out, and you go up and down the box score, just nobody really having the best day. But until that 8th inning, I think the Tigers had out-hit the Padres. They get a number of hits in that home half of the 8th inning to stretch their lead. But tough day. Parker Meadows felt like had a lot of long, loud outs, and that's going to happen from time to time. He was pinch hit for Andy Ibanez, who, again, with the righty-lefty split, you thought and seeing what Andy Ibanez does to left-handed pitching, that outcome was a little bit disappointing. Riley Green had the 1 double, which was good to see. 2 hits for Matt Vierling, but he struck out in a big spot. Kerry Carpenter had the 1 hit, but then was pinch hit for by Justin Henry Malloy, which, again, because it didn't work out, because Malloy struck out rather quickly, it was pretty apparent that maybe that's too harsh, but it seemed like a little bit of over managing right there. And that's what we're going to say when it doesn't work out. Tough day for Torkelson, 0 for 4. You know how that works. Up day, down day. Colt Keith had 1 hit. Jace Young, 0 for 4 on the day. Trey Sweeney, 1 for 3. And Jake Rogers, 0 for 3. So again, we've had enough of these shows where the offense just goes completely silent, where we know this offense isn't comprised of world beaters. And when they all struggle on the same day, this is the result. And the 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position, also part of the equation here that we're talking about and why the Tigers got shut out against the Padres. But an off day tomorrow, and then you got to come back and somehow find a way to get 2 out of 3. And because the margin of error is so slim in terms of the wild card race, and you're fighting that uphill battle, you can't afford to make it any more difficult on yourself down the stretch. You got to find a way at the very least to win 2 out of 3 in the series from here on out. Otherwise again, listen, the numbers on FanGraph, it was like 2%, then it was up to 5%. Somebody texted me where, depending on how you slice it, it could be as high as 7.8%. But let's call a spade. The percentile and the percentage of this Tigers team making the postseason is not great. It's an uphill battle, and nights like tonight make it that much more challenging to try to put together a magical postseason run. But it's one game, one of 162, got to come back, and depending on how things go the rest of the way in the rest of the series, will obviously dictate how we're feeling going into the Oakland series before some of those really, I probably have spent too much time with this exact thought process of the whole strength of schedule thing, because that's only as good as the Tigers play, and we've kind of beat this as a dead horse. But when the Tigers play well, they've got a chance to win, and when they play bad, they can lose to anybody. And so it becomes more about how the Tigers are playing as a team versus the team they're playing. But the Rockies after the A's at Comerica Park, and then tough ones against the Orioles and Royals, then 3 more again with the Orioles before the 6-game span between the Rays and the White Sox to conclude the season. So going to be fun. We are ready for it. We're going to be dialed in. We're going to be locked on Tigers and Locked On Tigers Postcast. That's why you subscribe. That's why you make us your first listen following the final out. But for your second listen, how about that? You got to check out the Locked On MLB podcast, where host Paul Sullivan, aka Sully, is here daily to provide national expertise with his trademark humor to help you get ready for the MLB playoffs. That's right, prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day on Locked On MLB, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. We'll take one more timeout, and then we will come back and wrap it all up. Tigers lose to the Padres 3-0. And oh yes, I was going to give us a quick wild card standing update. And again, some games still going on right now, but with the loss, Tigers falling to 5 games back in the wild card. And Twins now have passed the Kansas City Royals, who have been scuffling. So still 2 AL Central teams in there, but the Twins have overtaken the Royals at 74 and 62 compared to the Royals at 75 and 64. So there you have it. All right, final segment coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Locked On Tigers Postcast is back in a moment. Hey, this episode of Locked On Tigers Postcast is brought to you by my friends over at Game Time, and we're taking care of you here on Locked On Tigers Postcast. That's why when you use code Locked On MLB as a first-time user, you'll get $20 off when you download the Game Time app. Now, why should you download the Game Time app? Listen up and listen good. We all love to go to live events. We've got the NFL season coming up, first Lions home game, Sunday Night Football, the Tigers coming back to Comerica Park. There's going to be some crossover nights there where, hey, you get out to Ford Field, you get out to Comerica Park. Maybe you want to go to some concerts, fall concert season, wrapping up the tours for a lot of these artists. You want to get out and see them? Absolutely. Comedy shows, a night at the theater, you name it. Live events are synonymous with a lot of fun, and Game Time is the ticket app that you need, because Game Time has it all covered when it comes to the ultimate customer buying experience. My favorite part, the all-in pricing. Now, you got to toggle this feature, and it will show you the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. What a concept, right? You want to know how much you're paying for a ticket. When you toggle the all-in feature app or feature on the app, then it shows you, again, what a concept, the all-in price. So none of this, you think you get a great deal, you go to checkout, fee. No, you see exactly how much you're going to pay. None of the BS, none of the added fees at the end. It's all accounted for in that all-in pricing feature, which you got to toggle to turn on. And there's no surprise fees at checkout, which I love. Transparency. That's right. Seat views is another one. You get a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy. So it's not some grainy rendering of what your view might look like. No, it is a high-res definition panoramic photo of exactly what your view is like from the seat, so you know exactly what you're getting into, and the lowest price guaranteed, which is probably the best part of the Game Time app. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find a better deal. So peace of mind knowing you're getting the lowest price guaranteed. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDON MLB for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON MLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create that account, redeem the code LOCKEDON MLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today, and I ask you, what time is it? Game time! Boy, I really like the way that Game Time app really is. What time is it? Game time. That's right. I feel that way, like I'm getting ready in the locker room or something for a big game. But Tigers lose this big game, meaningful baseball in September. Still 15-6 in their last 21 games, which you will take. But as it relates to that wild card, 5 games back here on September 2nd now. And depending on what happens with the Twins and Mariners and Royals, we are watching all of that. The top of the ninth, Twins still have a 1-run lead on the Rays. Mariners and A's still tied at 4. Red Sox losing to the Mets 4-1. And one other team, who did I say that we care about? The Royals. That's right. They lost to the Guardians today 4-2. So it might be panic time in Kansas City because they have not been good. I'll check the old Google machine and see exactly how they've been in their last 10 games, because the old Google scoreboard will tell you everything you need to know. That's right. The Royals are 3-7 in their last 10 games. Tigers 7-3. Twins 4-6. And I guess just for good measure, the White Sox, what are they in their last 10 games? 0-10. So could be worse. Could all be White Sox fans. No, thank you. A couple more comments to get to before we wrap up. And as I mentioned, our friend Rufus, El Gato de Baseball. Yes, San Diego wanted Labor Day and made the arrangements. That's for why there's an off day tomorrow, which is just so sad. We got to go a full 48 hours before we get to hang out again. So in the meantime, if you want to check out any of our other videos on Locked On Sports Detroit, because the fun is just getting started. We got the old YouTube analytics report, and the month of August was the best month in Locked On Sports Detroit YouTube history. How about that, right? We had a lot more people tuning in, which is great. The beginning of the Lions preseason, the start of the Michigan Wolverines season on Saturday for Locked On Wolverines postcast and Locked On Lions postcast after their games as well. So tell a friend, like today's video as well. And I know these are little things, but they don't cost you anything and they help us out a great deal. Pitching matchup for tomorrow. I believe the Tigers will be going with another opener. It was Tyler Holton today. But that being said, I was trying to explain to my radio co-host today. I hosted today at 105.3 The Fan, the flagship of the World Series champion Texas Rangers, just how good Tarek Skubal's been and just how good the Tigers pitching staff has been in the month of August, despite having 2 healthy arms. And somebody that doesn't follow the Tigers day in and day out, they're like, what do you mean you only have 2 starting pitchers? I mean, there's only 2 starting pitchers. And now, obviously, with Casey Mize back in the mix, he's, now there's 3 starting pitchers. But point being, AJ Hinch and Chris Federer, per usual, have done a tremendous job with this pitching staff. So Cater Montero tomorrow. I keep saying tomorrow. Wednesday, my apologies. Wednesday, September 4th. Casey Mize on Thursday, September 5th. and the Tigers got to go find a way to get it done. But appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. As always, it is a pleasure to be on the air with you. Tigers lose to the Padres, final in this one, 3-0. They go 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. That includes Justin Henry Malloy, 0 for 1, Spencer Torkelson, 0 for 1, Colt Keith, 0 for 2, Matt Vierling, 0 for 1, and Kerry Carpenter and Jake Rogers also 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position. They left 7 men on base and just could not get anything going offensively. Pitching-wise, Tyler Holton's the man. 2 innings, just the 1 hit, 1 strikeout, didn't give up a run, and it was Brendan Hanafy, my apologies. I don't know where Bert came from. My apologies. It's been a long day, folks. Hosted a lot of radio today, and now here on Locked On Tigers Postcast, but that's no excuse. Maybe Bert Hanafy is a better name, but yeah, Hanafy with the air was tough. Brendan Hanafy, but I thought Ty Madden looked good. 4 innings pitched for him, 4 hits, and then it started to unrail there in the 8th. Obviously, he'd like to have that inning back, but up until the 8th, so prior to that, he looked really good. And maybe not even really good, but there was things that you saw that he could build on. 56 pitches, 41 of them for strikes, and attacking the hitters, 11 of 16 first pitch strikes, little things like that. I know the final line with the 2 earned runs there in the 8th inning is not what you want to see, but again, I don't think when you don't score, you're not going to win, and not to excuse that portion of his outing, but that he's not, you don't leave this game saying we didn't win because of Ty Madden. And then Jason Foley comes out, gets him out of the 7th and into the 8th there, or it gets him out of the 8th. And there you have it, an inning pitch for him as well. And he inherited quite the mess and kind of limited the damage in some regards. So Tigers lose to the Padres 3-0, the final in this one. 70-69 is their record now. Nice, and 35-35 on the road. Off day tomorrow before getting back at it on Tuesday. Make sure you check out Locked On Tigers with Scott Bentley. What a tremendous job he does covering the team. You know what? Even though there's a loss today, it's not all over yet. We keep scoreboard watching. We keep hoping for the best from this team and dial it in for the month of September. So for a little bit of a break now, we'll see you next time on the Locked On Tigers Postcast. Thanks as always for making us your post-game destination. And make sure you subscribe, like the video, and send to a friend as well. All those homework assignments that you get from me. What a guy, right? All right, have a wonderful night. See you next time on Locked On Tigers Postcast.